I think main challenge is to tackle with the building stock. What we've already have in our cities, in our country, is a very old building stock, very inefficient, and many times it's occupied by vulnerable people who are suffering from energy poverty. So I think getting all those people to see the opportunity in decarbonizing to improve the way of life, to improve their lives, it's one of the main objectives and the main challenges. The second one is to have a real professional sector to work with existing buildings. They have different needs, not only energy needs, they have also structural needs, accessibility, and it's not the same working with new buildings and with existing buildings. We need to build this new renovation sector and to be able to bring people to work in it, bring talent, bring new professionals to this new sector. Third challenge, and not a minor one. We've been working with operational carbon, with energy efficiency. We've been working the last decades with how we work with energy within the buildings. And now we have to address the whole life carbon decarbonization. That's a huge step in decarbonization the sector, and it needs a new vision. It needs new stakeholders. It needs the whole industry of construction to be decarbonized, and that's a huge step forward. The EPBD is bringing interesting tools to tackle with this, which is the global warming potential indicator, but the sector needs to speed up into working with this vision and also with the circular economy principles. That means changing the whole vision about how we build, how we use, how we renew and renovate buildings.
To address the big diversity of climatic conditions across the Spanish regions, it could be essential to integrate adaptation strategies to the national renovation plan. Spain is especially vulnerable to climate change, so our building stock should be both energy efficiency and climate resilient. The national roadmap should include adaptation strategies such as natural-based solutions, efficient water use, passive design strategies, or bioclimatic architecture. Renovation efforts should be guided to provide adequate and dignified housing.
In order to have most impactful national strategy for building decarbonization in 2019, the government called for experts and the sector in general to have their opinion and to get to know all the best practices in the market. It was difficult times for renovation. Very slow things were starting to happen, but all the people gathered together and for the first time they listened to each other. They learned the problems and the barriers that other stakeholders were having, and they started to collaborate a little bit more. One of the main learnings of that process was that this dialogue had to be permanent in order to have a succeed in the implementation of the strategy, not only the writing of the strategy, but the implementation of the strategy. This dialogue that has been open, it has to continue to go on during the whole period of the implementation of the EPBD. So that's what the government did, and in 2023 the 4 working groups were opened. One was to coordinate the efforts of different ministries from the central government. The second working group was the government together with the 17 regional governments, because they have a lot of responsibilities in the renovation policies. and they had to be coordinated in order to have a real impact in every region in Spain. A third working group was especially dedicated to local entities and local governments. They have special programs to tackle with social problems, not only the physical problems of the buildings, but also of the people living inside the buildings. And the fourth working group is the government together with the stakeholders of the building sector or the renovation sector.
In addition to structured consulting processes and technical working groups with experts, the big challenge that we have in Spain is raising awareness among the civil society. In Spain, there is a lack of renovation culture, and normally refurbishment is seen as an affordable burden, especially in a context of already very high housing costs. However, if properly planned through the renovation passport, renovation can be an opportunity of gold to upgrade the Spanish building stock and go beyond energy efficiency, improving important aspects such as accessibility, safety, or health issues, including improving the air quality or natural lighting. To support this cultural shift, the Ministry of Housing will launch a long-term campaign to raise awareness among civil society. This will include programs, for example, at schools, working with the kids, because we understand that having the involvement of the citizenship is crucial in the implementation of the renovation plan and being able to start the renovation processes at the big scale.
I think it's quite difficult to get the specific ideas of all the stakeholders in one conclusion. But there are a very, very big consensus in renovation general policies. There's quite an incognita about how it's going to be paid, how it's going to be communicated to citizens, and how are we going to engage citizens into this project. As I said before, one of the main challenges is that this has to be a real national project. It has to be felt from the inside of the citizens that it's good for them, it's good for the country, so I'll go for it. I think that's the main issue of the National Renovation Plan.
The most challenging aspects will probably include involving the stakeholders during the whole process and adapting the roadmap to different evolving needs and innovations. Another big challenge would be translating the consultation outcomes into practical, actionable policies at the regional and local level. In terms of long-term monitoring, the recast of the EPBD introduces very interesting tools such as a renovation passport and the one-stop shops that will be crucial to help homeowners across the journey of the renovation and to keep track of the improvements in terms of renovation of the building stock. One of the biggest critical issues identified is the scale of the challenge. Currently, buildings in Spain account for 1/3 of the energy consumption, which is an unsustainable and unaffordable situation. The second concern is the acceleration of climate change, which calls for an urgent call for action towards climate neutrality in the building sector. In this context, the recast of the EPBD in Spain is seen as a huge opportunity to make this paradigm shift and accelerate the transformation of the sector. Renovation will require a lot of innovation, not only in terms of technical solutions, but also in terms of conception and implementation. A big lesson learned is that the energy transition of the building sector is not just about replacing the heating or cooling systems, but it's about a new conception of how we build and how we renovate, which it's more important to go for deep renovations that tackles other aspects further than the energy aspects. Another lesson learned from the implementation is that the scale of the challenge is so big that we need to change the scale of the solution, replacing the building-by-building approach to the neighborhood or even the district scale. and understanding that renovation is a huge opportunity to improve not only energy aspects but also the quality of life of people.